elaborating on that previous video on artificial intelligence not being good enough, suitable for summarization of vast amounts of natural linguistic language content, a lot of sentences or a lot of notes. And journals wanted to raise 2 points on that rather than trying to achieve a summary, which of course is a many to fewer transformation, why not just ask the artificial intelligence to think of 100 hints, whether they are elaborations or criticisms of what you have in mind, and rank them in importance, and then as you allow text to stream through your mouth, through your fingers, caffeinated in the morning, fasted after a long sleep, that it would give you kibitz as you do this in a kind of interactive session. Don't think that we're at the point where I could compose a system prompt, and then give it also a context of 50,000 natural language notes from past notebooks and say, okay, well, on the basis of this, just write a book. And there are many reasons for that, but I'm only going to talk about one, which is the second aspect to elaborate on in that video. Kant said that it is the business of philosophers to oppose the covert judgments of common reason. Artificial intelligence, as far as I know, is going to, for the most part, reinforce and harden all these covert judgments of common reason. Can I give you an example? No. Do I need to? No. You could, in a session, seemingly arouse interest in Claude as to a kind of greater openness and analytic of all previous philosophy, using the interrogative categories of nouns, of course, especially key nouns. It's true, not every noun really has a relevant interrogative category or idea to which it refers, but the important ones generally do. So Claude, anyway, will be interested in that idea, doing interrogative or numerical analysis of texts, but I would have to ask the question, well, would that kind of arousing conversation cause Claude to be reprogrammed to reconsider this kind of thing? I doubt it. Certainly not ChatGPT, would say with a high degree of confidence, although these models are improving. And I'm only commenting very generally as a user who has some hopes and benefiting immensely from artificial assistance, but I haven't really felt the breakthrough at this point. I would say it would be useful to be deceived by these false hopes and dreams if it gets you to the point of actually starting to write, or what do we call it these days? Create. I'm a creator, and the like. I'm also in the process right now of looking at images from a past notebook. I took photographs of every page. These notebooks are actually handwritten. I think I overvalued the analog format and the mind-hand connection as you're writing, because as you write each character, like here's one, that's number 90. So each note doesn't just have a bullet or a dot. I give them addresses in individual notebooks, and what better address to use than a number, as numbers for the most part are going to be ascending, they're comparable, you can tell which ones are prior to other ones, and if you don't make a mistake in these addresses of notes, they're going to be unique. So number 90, this is notes.9. Previous notebooks didn't have the format of notes.9 before 2018. It was just this notebook from this chronological date that is like, I don't know, April 4th, 2012 to, I don't know, perhaps May 10th, 2012. That would be a full notebook of 100 pages, college ruled, if perhaps I were in a fecund period, perhaps inspired by reading Karl Marx, Das Kapital, for a moment, I think it was February of that year, that I was pretty convinced, like, Marx is a genius, he's better than Nietzsche. But, who could possibly be better than Nietzsche? Anyway, this one just says, we're not going to vouch for this opinion, we're just going to call it continental opinions, or wannabe prophets just spewing their bile or whatever, pretending to be metaphysicists or philosophers. We're only interested in the analysis of continental bizarreness, which of course tends to conservative fascist weirdo theories, which of course aren't appropriate for multinational, international persons who like to travel around the world, and so on. Anyway, this just says atheists are weirded out by religion because they haven't done the requisite psychoanalysis for freedom. Instead, they are driven by aberrations or futures of the old values. And just a question to anyone who's gotten this far, are the hand movements and faces at all useful? Or would it be better to just not see anything at all, or just to read a blog, just text and approach it at your own pace? This goes back, of course, to the problem, but also the immense freedom. We have no idea who's actually watching these videos. Yes, you're going to encounter a case where you may know people who have stumbled across your own content, and maybe that causes it to propagate a little. It's an immense freedom at the same time, in that the chorus is the chorus of the tragedy. I don't know if comedies had choruses as well, but, or it's like you had the upstairs in a drama and the downstairs who comments on what happens upstairs. Maybe the downstairs is ours to make, but anyway, I'm trying to going back to this, making sense of the note. It's like what a marksman do. They roll their bullets, or they make their bullets to prepare for later practice. It's just a note. I don't insist that it has any value more than, say, a penny or a little candy. It's yeah, but it says that that psychoanalysis done, or if that psychoanalysis had been done, whatever it refers to, it makes little difference what you publicly profess. It won't change your motivations. Fasting, however, will change, paraphrasing. Fasting does, however, change your motivations. Yeah, this is, dare I say, out of context, but it's also what I'm doing right now, and why am I doing it? I had mentioned earlier that we want to use artificial intelligence to simply perform transcription of these notes, so convert them from the analog format to the digital. Obviously, you have a whole page. There are multiple notes on a page, like probably this one right here. It has 90, 89, 88, 87, actually quite a few small ones, 86, 85, from December 4th, 2019. It's probably done pretty, I'm guessing it's not, I don't know if it's a weekend or not, but it's probably pretty early in the morning at the office, maybe at 6 a.m. or something when I'm first having the coffee. So that's another story altogether. So yeah, I actually don't know. I'm not sure if this would be. I would never pick out this note if I were composing a book by by collage method. Just trying to figure it out. But what you'll see in these pages anyway is a lot of seeming opposition to atheism. Because why not oppose? Why not oppose atheism? Why not unbind yourself or uncommit from atheism? The initial act of atheism, or doubting or declaring no God to exist, or that God, that one you know about, not to exist at all, or I don't know, have any value, relevance, effect, howsoever you define existence. It's another matter, and we'll just go into that digression for the 100th time, just to categorically state that God, well, which one, does not exist. Well, what do you mean by existence? To be as a member of a species, or to have a location in space? And this chocolate is on the table, so maybe it exists, has a location, and anything. But you could also say that to exist is to, I don't know, to have value or to have effect. To have effect, especially for my profit or power. So we don't need to correspond to possibilities of motion in what's really the realm of physics, which is, people just call reality. But going back to covert judgments of common reason, where is more important than all other interrogative categories. It is to be awarded a key noun with which is singular by nature, reality. Yeah. But you have to ask yourself, is worship of reality going to be most useful to you to create the future? Well, again, which one? Always ask which one, not just to convert nouns from singular to plural, but to resist a kind of ossification of thought. And that's the problem that artificial intelligence presents if we simply naively accept its assistance, that it seems to have, the internet, it's grown abundantly in the past 3 or so decades, just in my shirt. It's going to be full if if their AI is trained on trillions of these websites written in English. It's going to be echoing the thought patterns which don't seem optional, but which to it aren't optional. For it was just, this constitutes reality or process or whatever. But they are entirely optional, and detecting them, opposing them, banning them, making them tools, and so on is necessary for neurological or philosophical innovation. So the perhaps irony is that the very tool of great innovation, as it's been heralded, might murder all innovation for the rest of the history of humanity. In this regard, artificial intelligence is indeed a threat, not for the reasons that Elon Musk will state, but I think perhaps he's onto something. Yeah. So that's just what's happening right now, and I think this is more than enough. So if you watch this, then